Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Mansing. Topping our newscast, residents who've been outspoken about the crippling inter-island airfares would be pleased to know that one lawmaker is soon having a discussion that could affect that situation. Senator Kenneth Gittens issued a statement recently to inform the public of that upcoming meeting and to express that he shares their sentiment. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Senator Kenneth Gittens is sitting down with seaborne airline executives to talk about the high price of air travel between St. Thomas and St. Croix.
I want them to consider their passengers who have to not only fly back and forth for recreational or for fun, but we also have those seniors and others who are dependent on traveling to either district for medical reasons.
The senator said he has not had a real interaction with top seaborne officials until he got a call from their staff saying they wanted to talk. For the next week, a one-way seaborne ticket between St. Thomas and St. Croix is $129. That's easily $260 for a round-trip ticket. Seaborne has stated that they keep their prices competitive and do provide discounts for frequent travelers. Part of the reason for soaring inter-island airfare is the lack of competition, and Senator Gittens says that's what he's trying to cultivate by talking to other airline carriers to operate within the territory.
I have been in contact with other airlines already and trying to see if we could have another dedicated airlines based here in the territory that can assist with the inter-island travel.
When asked what range in airfare prices sound reasonable to him, Senator Gittens said,
I don't want to actually put a number, but I really do believe that once we start competing with a round-trip ticket to the U.S. mainland right here within the territory, we do have a problem.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Again, that meeting between Senator Gittens and seaborne officials is slated for later this week. News 2 will keep you updated on the outcome of that meeting. Veterans living in the Virgin Islands have long had challenges when it comes to health care, but a recent development in veterans' benefits could make medical attention more accessible to them. Senator Justin Harrigan, who himself is a veteran, says it's great news and could lessen the need for veterans to travel for health care. News 2's April Knight has more.
Local veterans now have a significantly expanded healthcare access. That information came out at the Veterans Town Hall meeting held Monday night on St. Thomas.
It is relatively new. I really learned something myself because I got a letter from them saying I was eligible, but I didn't realize to the extent of the benefit that was being offered.
Senator Justin Harrigan, chairman of the Senate Government Services Committee and also a veteran, said that under the new rule, a veteran who does not get an appointment with a community clinic within 30 days can now go to local physicians participating in the VA program. The new program started out as a temporary response to the VA scandal in the mainland, involving veterans waiting for years to get an appointment with VA hospitals. Congress has since made that rule permanent.
Healthcare is very expensive, especially in the territory. And that's why we are trying to get, at least that's what I tried to do, was to get an agreement with the hospital and the federal government.
Before that, local veterans who can't get appointments at the community clinic would have to go to Puerto Rico, even though certain treatments and services were available with VI physicians or medical labs. Now they can go to local doctors and still get the reduced rates for veterans.
There is some minimal charge now. I've gotten a bill for $2.50.
And according to Harrigan, it's no less than veterans deserve.
It's a benefit that we earn having served honorably. So when you come back home, something you don't have a whole lot of money, you have an injury that was service connected, you can go to the clinic.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now again, that option to go to local doctors is only available if a veteran is not able to get an appointment within 30 days. The Department of the Interior's Assistant Secretary for Insular Areas, Esther Kiana, announced the selection of Basil Otley Jr. to serve as the new policy director at the headquarters of the Office of Insular Affairs in Washington, D.C. Otley, who also served as OAI's U.S. Virgin Islands Policy Desk Officer in Washington and as the field representative in the U.S. Virgin Islands, began his first day as policy director in the office on Monday. As director, Otley will be coordinating and federal policies, looking after federal policies for the territories of American Samoa, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and administering and overseeing U.S. federal assistance provided to the freely associated states of the Federated States of Micronesia, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and the Republic of Palau under the Compacts of Free Association. In other news, Government House has confirmed that Dwayne Howell is no longer with the VI government. Howell was nominated by Governor Kenneth Mapp back in January to the Acting Health Commissioner post and has served as Acting Health Commissioner until a nominee was chosen by the governor. According to the Avis, a report in the Avis, Howell was fired because he refused to move to the Labor Department. Government House would not confirm or deny the circumstances around Howell's departure. Spokespersons Kim Jones and Sam Topp merely repeated that Howell is no longer an employee of the government. The 911 emergency call center received notification of gunfire being discharged in the area of Estate Work and Rest after a concerned citizen of Catherine's Rest had phoned in, stating that a vehicle unknown to the residents of the household was in their yard and that someone may be in the vehicle. Officers discovered a GMC Jimmy in the Catherine's Rest area riddled with bullet holes and several shell casings on the ground. Staff at the Louis Hospital contacted the 911 emergency call center, advising that a gunshot victim had been transported by a private vehicle. The victim of the shooting is a 24-year-old male who has not been identified at this point. Count on 2 to keep you updated. And at roughly 7:25 p.m. on Sunday, August 9th, the Frederiksted Bike Patrol unit was dispatched to the area of Cottages by the Sea after the 911 emergency call center received a report of the discharge of gunfire from an off-duty officer. The officer who reported the incident also requested a patrol and forensic unit due to having found several shell casings. No description of the suspects was made available, as witnesses were only available to state that they'd heard 3 to 4 gunshots and that a light-colored vehicle, possibly a new model SUV and truck, were seen leaving that area at a high rate of speed headed towards Dorch Beach. One local organization was outraged after they made a gruesome discovery while cleaning up the Great Pond area over the weekend. Dozens of animal skulls were found discarded and with some signs of cruelty. A police detective who saw the posts on Facebook and the local news contacted the animal shelter to get involved. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
Sandy, this entire area was cleaned up over the weekend, and already you can see people have piled garbage right here behind me. But it's what these volunteers found over the weekend when they were cleaning up that's more shocking. Animal welfare workers spent Tuesday morning canvassing part of the Great Pond area, searching for bones.
I counted 13 heads of dogs and puppies.
They found skulls and skeletal remains of dogs. Animal welfare manager Moises Carmona was contacted by the VIPD's Animal Cruelty Division after one officer saw what was found during a weekend cleanup by the group Clean Up St. Croix.
He told me if I was aware that they had like a dumping site down by Great Pond, approximately 8 to 10 dogs that was actually dumped there.
Clean Up St. Croix posted pictures from the clearing where they discovered the dogs. Although officials haven't determined how the bodies got there, a post from Clean Up St. Croix says they found more recent remains with bloody collars still attached. They suspect dogfighting. Animal welfare workers are investigating.
So we don't have much to work with because it's mostly skeletons, but we would be looking for broken bones, skull fractures, evidence of trauma to the jaws or things like that, or bullet holes.
We would want to see if they actually die for normal cause and they just drop them off here, or somebody just kill an animal or poison them and dropping them off here. If they're doing that, it's against the law.
Without the cause of death confirmed, workers want to remind the community there are options when it comes to putting down a pet safely and legally.
It's a bad side because we do have an animal shelter. If you want to get rid of an animal, the best place to bring it is the St. Croix Animal Shelter. We'll humanely put the animal to sleep.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Again, officials caution anyone from illegal dumping, anyone with information about the deceased dogs and how they got there. You're urged to contact the Animal Welfare Center or the police. Turn our attention overseas. Police arrested several people Monday evening after protesters who gathered along West Florissant Avenue in Ferguson refused their instructions to get off the street. Around 10:20 p.m., hundreds of protesters started marching into the street. Immediately, police on a loudspeaker told them to move out of the traffic. When they didn't comply, officers advanced and took several people into custody, handcuffing them on the ground. At least one officer also squirted pepper spray into the crowd. By 1 a.m., protests and the police presence began to diminish. Overnight, roughly 24 arrests were made, county police said. Keeping our eye on the economy, here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. As we can see, everything down. The Dow 212, NASDAQ 65, S&P 500 20. Coming up on News 2, much more straight ahead, including Consumer Alert and Sterling Opticals giving away their annual scholarships to students. We'll have more coming up next. Welcome back. The taxi concession that operates near the Loredan L. Boyne Senior Dock and Cruise Base St. John was returned to the central government in care of the Department of Property and Procurement. And that announcement came from Virgin Islands Port Authority Executive Director Carlton Dow. He said the Port Authority received the concession at the request of the previous administration in December 2013 after the St. John Taxi Association was evicted from the property. Dow said that the Port Authority never signed any official lease or deed for the property, nor does VIPA have any interest in managing the concession without such any longer. Property and Procurement Commissioner designee Randolph Bennett agreed to take full control of the operation effective immediately. Well, last Saturday, instructors from the Red Cross St. Thomas office educated 30 junior firefighters in disaster preparedness as part of the Pillowcase Project. The Pillowcase Project, sponsored by Disney, teaches children how to be better prepared for disasters. This educational program was created by the American Red Cross Southeast Louisiana chapter following Hurricane Katrina in 2005, where they learned that young college students carried their valuables in pillowcases when they were evacuated for Katrina. This inspired the Pillowcase Project as a program targeted for children and has been implemented at a national level. Many private school students will be headed back to classes next week, but if you're in the public school system, you have a little more time. All public schools reopen on September 8th, and here are some dates you need to be aware of. Central High's orientation took place earlier this year, but they have ID pickup for 9th graders on August 25th and 6th, 10th graders on the 27th, and August 28th for 11th and 12th graders. St. Croix Educational Complex has mandatory orientation for 11th and 12th graders on September 1st and 9th and 10th graders on September 2nd. Additional information can be found on the Department of Education's website at www.vide.vi St. Thomas. Schedules were not yet available. Sterling Optical announced their 14th annual scholarship recipients Tuesday during 2 press conferences in both districts. 13 students across the territory were awarded scholarships of $1,500 each to go to college, 8 from St. Croix and 5 from St. Thomas. It's part of Sterling's commitment to the community. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
For the last 14 years, Dr. Joel Mahipith has been providing scholarships through Sterling Optical for deserving high school students headed off to college.
This year, we have been able to do a bit more rather than less. And that's only because we are blessed because the community has supported us.
This year, 13 students across the territory were awarded the Adams Mahipeth Scholarship.
Today, we're proud to present 13 scholarships in the amount of $1,500 to these students. We have increased the amount from last year. Last year, we gave $1,250 to 12 students.
The recipients were selected from a pool of 70 applicants. Students are selected based on a number of criteria.
Grade point averages, SAT scores, extracurricular activities, community involvement.
Dr. Lisa Adams has gone the extra mile to notify recipients they've won.
I'm not going to remember Malik for his scholastic activities. I'm going to remember Malik because I had to hunt him down. I had to go on the internet.
I feel honored, especially for the fact that they actually went through the time and work to actually find me on the internet, on Facebook.
The college freshmen are headed to a number of different schools, including the University of the Virgin Islands, Columbia University, and Emory-Riddle Aeronautical University.
I feel so grateful. I'm so happy that I was able to get this, and I'm just really thankful that they were giving it to me.
I feel great. I'm really delighted and happy that I was one of the recipients chosen for the scholarship, and I want to thank Sterling for that.
It means that I'll have more money to spend on my textbooks, that's for sure.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Congratulations to the students. Both district presentations were made today. 8 of the scholarship recipients were from St. Croix and 5 were from St. Thomas. Well, here's something to mark on your calendar for the Summer Fun segment this Thursday night, August 13th. David Brewer, senior archaeologist for the Virgin Islands State Historic Preservation Office, will present a discussion of the state of archaeology in the territory, with an emphasis on partnerships, regulatory activities, and some of the both long-standing and recent challenges facing the Division of Archaeology and Historic Preservation. Mr. Brewer worked for the National Park Service's Southeast Archaeological Center for almost 20 years before becoming the state archaeologist for the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2001. He served in that capacity in the St. Thomas office through 2009 and recently returned as a senior archaeologist under the new administration stationed at Fort Frederick on St. Croix. Now, the lecture will be held from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Thursday in the Danish Guinea West India Company Warehouse Slave Market Building. The Christiansted National Historic Site parking lot will be free and open for this event until 7 p.m. Time for our consumer alert. College students, beware. A new scam known as card cracking could land you in serious debt. As Consumer Alerts found out, social media and rap music play an integral role in the scam that could have lifelong consequences. Here's more.
Solicitations look like this one on Facebook. People holding wads of money with lines like this next to it. I don't know nobody who don't want more money, but if you want to make some money tonight. With the solicitation comes instructions on where to meet people who can help you make this easy money. It's called card cracking. Young people being promised $1,500 or $3,000 for very little work. And the offers arrive via Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Individuals are recruited either to give up their existing bank account or to open a new bank account. The bank account information is provided to our suspects.
The suspects then use mobile remote devices to deposit checks into the accounts. The timing of this scam is crucial.
The deposit typically takes place early in the evening after the bank's closed. The next business day, typically after midnight, the bank releases the funds into that account.
Victims are asked to make large, quick withdrawals before the bank reopens in the morning.
It takes several days for the bank to realize that deposited item is of no value. And so they're really exploiting the loophole.
Often the bank absorbs the losses or they demand the money back from the person on the account. The targets for card cracking are often young people between the ages of 19 and 20 who are socially savvy, eager for money, and inexperienced with the banking world.
Never to give out your personal information over Facebook or any type of social media, or for that matter, over the telephone.
Be sure to keep that advice in mind. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.